Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
Morgan Freeman, one of my favorite actors, says it simply: stop talking about it. What's interesting is I think of Americans in our names. I think how everyone has something in front of American except for one group. You have African Americans, Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, and so on. And then white people are only called Americans. We're all Americans, and race should have nothing to do with that. We should all just be called Americans. Then I think of when you apply to a college or a job, one of the very first questions is your name, your date of birth, and then your race. And I don't understand why we need that. Race should be illegal to ask on any job or college application. I have a lot of points that I want to go into, but one of the very first things is I want to talk about a movie called Coach Carter. It's one of my favorite basketball movies of all time, but it has such a bigger meaning than basketball. To simply put, Coach Carter grew up in a low-income neighborhood, went to a low-income high school, played high school basketball, and had the opportunity to play college basketball as well. He graduated from college and became a successful businessman, and then about after 15 years decided that he wanted to go back to his low-income high school and coach basketball. He did just this, walked in the gym, and saw a group of confused young men. He immediately knew they needed some sort of direction in their life and put together a set of contract requirements that they all had to follow in order to play basketball for him. The contract consisted of many things, but simply put, the student athletes had to sit in the front of the classroom, had to go to their class, and had to maintain a certain GPA in order to play basketball. Coach Carter knew that this would set these kids up for success in their life, but many kids were reluctant to sign this contract. A few left immediately after they heard and quit and never came back. After a week or so of convincing parents and players, they did sign the contract and they started playing. After about 10 games in the season, the Coach Carter got a notification from their teachers that most were not coming to class. If they were not sitting in the front of the class. And if they were doing both of those, many were still failing. Coach Carter immediately took action, knowing that these kids needed discipline in their life. He immediately locked the gym and did not allow for any practice or any games to be played. They went on and forfeited many games because of this until the kids were able to meet the requirements of their contract. It's a great story because of this one fact. Not one kid that played for Coach Carter did not graduate from high school. Not everyone went to college. Not everyone became successful in business, but everyone graduated from high school. I think that's a great accomplishment. It showed these kids that thought they couldn't leave this area, they weren't going to amount to anything in life, that they could accomplish something, and that if they worked hard, they could do anything. The second thing I think about is something called affirmative action. If you don't know what affirmative action is, it's simply put, it takes people of certain races and allows them to go to colleges that they wouldn't be able to get in with just their grades, their merit, their IQ. They are only getting into these colleges because of their race. One of the big lawsuits recently happened to Harvard College, and if we look at Harvard colleges, race diversity, they are very diverse. They only have 37% of their race being white, with 75% of the US population being white, and the other 63% come from people of color. There's a lady named Joy, a successful business lady went on to Fox News recently and said that she would have no chance of getting into Harvard if it wasn't for affirmative action. Simply put, she's saying that she did not have the grades, she did not have the merit, she did not have the experience to get into Harvard, but because of affirmative action that targets people of color, she was able to just get pulled into Harvard essentially. It makes me think of the NBA. The NBA is known for having many African American athletes. Over 80% of the athletes in the NBA are African American. While I think this has nothing to do with race or the color of their skin, affirmative action is this simply in NBA terms. It would be basically cutting 50% of the African Americans that put in the time, put in the work, and earn the privilege of playing professional basketball, cutting 50% of those players and telling white people that they can simply be in the NBA because of their skin color. People would lose their minds because it simply has nothing to do with skin color, and it has everything to do with these people worked hard and these people were able to make their dream a reality. I think of professional soccer, and in professional soccer, we have the statistics right here that 81% of professional soccer players are white, and 7% are Hispanic or Latino, 6% are black, and 4% are Asian, and the rest come from different races. And as you can see, throughout different sports, it's not about race, it's about people working hard. In some sports, there's more African Americans. In some sports, there's more whites. This comes from cultures. America is built on culture. People love sports here. And for that reason, we produce most of the professional athletes in the world. It has nothing to do with skin color, but culture. Europe is known for soccer players, and Europe has a large density of white people. It has nothing to do with their skin color, but it's a culture based on soccer. And so you see there that this culture has 81% of white people, which is equivalent to the percentage of white people in Europe. And then you look at countries like China, that has the largest population in the world. China and the US are always first and second in the Olympics. And China has the biggest population of a country in the world. It has nothing to do with the Chinese are superior, but they have billions of people in their country, which statistically, they will have great athletes. So I look at a job application, and we all know that in today's world, that people of color sometimes have an advantage to get into certain colleges and to get into certain businesses. My uncle said that his company has publicly stated that they are looking to hire and promote people of color. To me, that sounds ridiculous. To run a business, you should be looking for people with the right experience, the right tools, and the right merit to run a certain position. The color of your skin has nothing to do with who you are or what you can be. I believe that it should be illegal and that everyone here should contact their congressman today to make it illegal to ask for race on a college application or business. Make it about your experience. I think about low-income neighborhoods, that the people that are able to rise up out of their excruciating and difficult circumstances and overcome these obstacles will have no issue in a business or a college. If they're able to overcome circumstances like that, then they can do anything they want in this world. Let's make this life not about the color of your skin, but about your experiences and the culture that you've created. Thank you so much.